Hey, I'm Jacob, the creator of the AI Vaults newsletter. Every week, I hand the mic over to Google's Notebook LM to let AI break down the latest issue. So here's this week's news presented by Alex and Morgan.
Going through the stack of research we have for today, it feels like we're suffering from a collective case of whiplash.
Oh, yeah. It really is a tale of two realities right now. It's totally disorienting.
Right, because on one side you have the corporate world, the Accentures, the Metas, KPMGs of the world, basically screaming at their employees, adopt this AI technology immediately or get left behind. It is a strict mandate.
Yeah.
But then you look over at the government sector, specifically in Europe, and they are waving these massive red flags saying, stop, the bridge is out, do not use this.
And right in the middle of that tug of war, we have this absolutely viral financial research note that landed on our desk this week.
The Citron one.
Right, from Citron Research. And it's predicting a full-blown economic crisis by 2028 caused by something they're calling Ghost GDP.
Ghost GDP. That phrase has been stuck in my head all morning. I mean, it sounds like something from a horror movie.
It really does.
But the math behind it is actually scarier than a movie.
It is a haunting concept, for sure. Essentially, it's the idea that we are racing toward an efficiency utopia, where productivity numbers look amazing on a spreadsheet, but the actual humans, the consumers who actually power the economy, start to disappear from the equation entirely.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear for you all listening today. We need to figure out, are we actually heading for that efficiency utopia, or are we about to hit what these analysts are calling an economic air pocket?
Right.
We've got corporate mandates, regulatory bans, the latest on robotaxis, and a pretty wild breakthrough in magnets to get through.
And that magnet story might actually be the thing that saves us, but we will get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Let's start with the pressure cooker first.
Yeah.
If you're working in a corporate job right now, you have probably felt this shift happen. We saw this report about Accenture that, honestly, it felt like a real turning point.
It's definitely a line in the sand. I mean, for the last couple of years, the message from leadership everywhere was pretty soft.
Yeah, totally.
It was, hey, here are these cool Gen AI tools, play around with them, see what you can do. It was highly experimental.
Right, the whole fail fast, explore, all the usual tech buzzwords.
Exactly. But this report on Accenture alongside KPMG and Meta, it shows the experiment phase is officially over. It is now a policy.
A strict one.
Very. Accenture is explicitly linking leadership promotions to the regular adoption of AI tools.
There was an internal email mentioned in the report sent to associate directors and senior managers, I think, that described using these tools as a visible input for talent discussions.
Yes.
Visible input. I mean, that is just HR speak for we are watching your usage logs.
It really is. And you have to understand the context here. Accenture trained something like 550,000 people in generative AI last year.
That is massive.
It's a massive capital investment. But the internal data apparently showed that the senior staff just weren't logging in. They were sticking to their old workflows.
Which is human nature, right? You get to a senior level because you're good at doing things a certain way. You have your routine.
Sure, you trust your routine. But Accenture markets itself as a reinvention partner to its clients. You can't very well sell reinvention if your own managing directors are still doing manual spreadsheet entry. They viewed it as an existential credibility issue.
But wait, let's clarify something for everyone. When they say use the tools, what are they actually asking people to do? Because it's not just about asking a chat bot to draft a generic email anymore.
No, not at all.
We're talking about Claude Cowork.
Right. This is the new enterprise launch from Anthropic. And the distinction really matters. This isn't a little chat window you tab over to when you need an idea. Claude Cowork is fully integrated.
It's in everything.
It plugs directly into Google Drive, Gmail, DocuSign, even live financial data streams like FactSet.
That integration is the key here. Because if I'm a knowledge worker, my day is mostly just jumping between those tabs. I open a contract, I check the stock price, I write the email.
Exactly. The promise of Claude Cowork is that it acts as the connective tissue between all those apps. It can pull a contract from DocuSign, cross-reference the financial data in FactSet to make sure the numbers match up, and then draft the email in Gmail, all without you manually moving any of the data yourself.
Wow.
It's designed to turbocharge productivity by removing what they call the synthesis tax that humans usually pay.
The synthesis tax, I actually really like that term. It's the brain power we use just to move information from point A to point B.
Precisely. And if you remove that tax, you get incredible speed.
Right.
But you also get a massive dependency on the system.
Okay, so that's the corporate reality. Plug this thing into your entire digital life or say goodbye to your next promotion. But then, and here's that whiplash we talked about, we look across the Atlantic to the European Parliament.
A complete 180-degree turn.
They have effectively blocked lawmakers from using these exact types of tools on official devices.
It is a fascinating contrast. You have companies viewing non-adoption as a career failure, and you have the European government viewing adoption as a massive security failure.
So what is their specific objection? Is it just general technophobia? Because usually we tend to dismiss these government bans as people just not getting the tech.
No, this is much more specific than that. It is pure cybersecurity. The Parliament's IT department released a statement saying, effectively, we cannot verify where this data goes. If a lawmaker is drafting confidential legislation or handling state secrets, and they feed that into a tool like Claude or ChatGPT, there is a real risk that the data is ingested into the cloud or used for future model training.
Right, it's the black box problem.
Precisely. And until that is solved, you have this massive friction. Corporations are betting that the speed is worth the risk. Governments, by definition, cannot take that bet. They can't risk a state secret becoming part of a training data set for the next language model.
So we have the gas pedal pressed to the floor in the corporate world and the emergency brake pulled hard in government. Speaking of bets, let's talk about the biggest wager of all today. We need to open up this research note from Citron Research.
Yes, this is the heavy hitter for today's deep dive.
It's titled, The 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis. It sounds like the title of a sci-fi novel, but it's actually a stark financial warning. And it centers on this concept of Ghost GDP. Break this down for us, because usually when GDP goes up, we're popping the champagne.
Traditionally, yes. GDP measures the value of goods and services produced. If it goes up, it generally means the economy is growing, wages are usually rising, people are spending. It's a virtuous cycle. But Citrini is arguing that AI fundamentally breaks that correlation.
How do they break it?
Okay, imagine a scenario where a mid-sized tech company replaces 1,000 mid-level managers with an AI system like the one we just discussed.
Okay, so the Claude Cowork scenario.
Right. The company's output probably stays the same or even improves because the AI is so much faster. Their costs drop dramatically because they aren't paying 1,000 salaries and benefits anymore, so their profits absolutely skyrocket. On paper, their contribution to GDP looks fantastic. It looks like huge economic growth.
But those 1,000 people are now unemployed.
Right. And here is the kicker. Machines don't consume.
Right.
A server rack running an AI model doesn't buy a house. It doesn't need new shoes for the kids. It doesn't go out to dinner on a Friday night.
So you have the supply, you have all the stuff being produced, but you've eliminated the consumer demand.
That gap right there is ghost GDP. It is economic value that exists on a corporate balance sheet but never actually circulates back into the real economy. It's phantom wealth.
Wow. And the report describes this terrifying feedback loop called the intelligence displacement spiral. And I want to walk through this with you because the logic is chillingly sound.
It really is. It is a classic deflationary spiral. Step one, AI gets cheaper and better. We're seeing that happen every single month right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Step two, companies, desperate to protect their profit margins, use that AI to cut their white-collar costs.
Which means layoffs for high earners.
Correct. Step three, those displaced high earners who are the primary drivers of discretionary spending in the U.S. economy, they stop spending. They close their wallets entirely.
Which naturally hurts the revenue of other companies.
Exactly. Revenue drops for everyone because nobody is buying anything. So what do those companies do to survive the revenue drop? They buy more AI to cut their costs even further, and the wheel just spins again.
The report calls the economy a Bayesian chain of correlated bets on white-collar productivity. And they point to one specific sector where this daisy chain could just explode, the housing market.
This is the real danger zone. The U.S. mortgage market is roughly $13 trillion, and it is entirely built on one core assumption: stability.
The assumption that the borrower will have a stable job for the next 30 years.
Specifically, prime borrowers. Banks love people with 780-plus FICO scores. These are the professionals, the accountants, the coders, the middle managers, the exact people currently being told to adopt AI or else.
The safest bets in the casino?
Usually, yes. But the Citron report argues that if we face structural unemployment where these jobs don't just dip for a temporary recession, but vanish permanently because software took them,
Yeah.
then those prime mortgages aren't money good anymore.
If you have a wave of defaults from the people who are supposed to be the absolute bedrock of the financial system.
The financial system isn't capitalized for that. It expects defaults from subprime borrowers. It does not expect the top of the pyramid to suddenly crumble.
That feels like the critical point here. It directly challenges the standard economist line, which is always, new technology creates new jobs. Don't worry, the loom created the weaver.
And that has always been true in history. But the report argues the difference this time is velocity. If the transition happens over 20 years, we adapt to it. If it happens over 3 years, which is the timeline of this intelligence crisis, they're predicting the system simply cannot reabsorb those workers fast enough.
That is heavy. But it frames that mandate from Accenture in a very different light. It's not just a corporate efficiency push. It's a race for survival.
It is. And while the economists are sweating over the macro numbers, the engineers are just trying to build the future. We need to talk about New Relic because this moves us from economic theory to what is actually shipping today.
Right. New Relic just released an update to their agentic platform, and this targets a very specific group of people in the tech world, site reliability engineers, or SREs.
These are basically the unsung heroes of the internet. When Netflix goes down or your banking app crashes, an SRE is the person who gets a pager alert at 3 a.m., wakes up groggy, and frantically types code to fix it.
Super high stress, extremely high skill.
And incredibly high burnout. New Relic's new platform uses AI agents to monitor these systems, but they don't just watch and alert human anymore. They diagnose the failure and recommend the fix before the human is even paged.
And it's a no-code builder, right?
That's the key innovation. You don't need to be a master system architect to set these agents up. It drastically lowers the barrier to entry for complex automation.
It's incredible technology. I mean, no one wants to wake up at 3 a.m. to fix a server. But if the bot prevents the crash entirely, do you really need a team of 10 SREs anymore? Or do you just need one person to oversee the bots?
It feeds right back into the Ghost GDP narrative. Efficiency goes way up, headcount goes way down.
Let's step away from the screens for a second.
Yeah.
Because if digital AI is moving at warp speed, physical AI robots out in the real world has always been the slower, clumsier cousin. But looking at the scoreboard in the robotaxi war, that is changing fast.
It is heating up significantly. We've been tracking Waymo versus Tesla for years now. And right now, Waymo is absolutely running up the score.
They just announced a massive expansion.
Yes, they added 4 new cities to their roster: Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Orlando. That brings their total to 10 fully operational cities. And we need to be crystal clear here, these are driverless. There is no human safety driver in the front seat. You get in the back, the car just goes.
Meanwhile, Tesla
is currently at 0. 0 cities with a commercial, fully driverless robotaxi service.
Despite the whole cybercab event they had, despite the years and years of promises from Elon Musk, why is the gap so wide?
The difference in their approaches is stark. Reports show Tesla's testing out in Austin still involves safety drivers or chase cars following the vehicle. And crucially, they haven't even applied for the necessary driverless permits in California yet.
Why is Waymo winning this so handily, though? Tesla has all the road data, right? That has always been the argument for why they would win.
It really comes down to philosophy. Tesla has always had that classic Silicon Valley move fast and break things mentality. They treat the car like it's a piece of software. Waymo has been incredibly methodical. Painfully slow, some critics would say. They focused entirely on hardware redundancy and edge case safety.
Because in the physical world, breaking things means actually crashing into stuff.
Exactly. You can't just send an over-the-air patch after a fatality. And speaking of safety, Waymo actually used data from a recent incident, a collision that involved a child to defend their technology.
That sounds completely counterintuitive.
It does sound strange, but their argument was that the car's sensors picked up the child and applied the brakes milliseconds faster than a human physically could have. It didn't avoid the crash entirely, but it significantly mitigated the impact force.
So the argument is basically, we aren't perfect, but we are statistically much better than you.
That is the exact threshold they are aiming for: superhuman reaction times.
So we have AI fixing servers, we have AI driving cars, and now we have AI trying to be the next Steven Spielberg. Hollywood is currently up in arms about a new tool called ByteDance 2.0.
This is a massive cultural friction point right now. Citance is from ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, and the video demos they released are, frankly, mind-blowing.
People are generating hyper-realistic videos of huge movie stars just by typing a single sentence.
Yeah, you type Tom Cruise fighting Brad Pitt in a cyberpunk diner.
Yeah.
And the AI just generates it. The lighting is perfect. The camera angles are dynamic. You can see the pores on their skin. It's all there.
And naturally, the actual Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and the studios that own their film rights are not happy about this at all.
Not happy is an understatement. Cease and desist letters flew immediately from Disney, Paramount, the Motion Picture Association. They are absolutely furious.
There was a quote from Rhett Reese, the screenwriter for Deadpool.
Yeah.
He saw this tech and tweeted, "I hate to say it, it's likely over for us."
That is a profound moment of existential realization for an industry. The legal battle right now is ostensibly about copyright and using the likeness of stars, but the deeper fear is exactly what Reese is saying. If a kid in a basement can generate a blockbuster quality action scene for a $20 monthly subscription, what is the value of a $200 million studio production anymore?
It creates a ghost GDP problem for human creativity. If you don't need the set designers, the gaffers, the lighting crews, the makeup artists.
And who buys the movie tickets? It's the exact same economic question.
We are seeing this mining of humanity everywhere. Reddit is doing it too now.
Ah, yes, the shopping pivot.
Right. Reddit is testing a feature right now where they use AI to scrape all of our conversations, people debating the best noise-canceling headphones or sharing skincare routines, and they're turning those human interactions into shoppable product carousels.
They're monetizing trust. We trust Reddit because it's real people sharing real experiences. Now, the platform is automating the extraction of that human value just to sell targeted ads.
It feels like every single corner of human activity is being squeezed for maximum efficiency. But I do want to end on a bright spot today, because for all the economic doom and the legal battles we just covered, there's a piece of science news from the University of New Hampshire that proves this technology can do actual, tangible good.
We definitely need a bright spot. And this is a perfect example of AI expanding human capability rather than just replacing it.
It's about magnets, which I know sounds a bit boring, but if you drive an EV, this is huge news.
It's massive. Electric vehicle motors rely heavily on rare earth magnets. The problem is right there in the name. They are rare, they are incredibly expensive, they're hard to mine, and the global supply chain is completely dominated by geopolitical rivals.
So the researchers basically stitched an AI on this problem.
They did. They used an advanced AI model to scan through 67,573 potential magnetic compounds.
I really want to pause on that number for a second. Over 67,000. How long would it take a team of human scientists to synthesize and test that many compounds in a lab?
Decades, maybe multiple lifetimes. You'd have to physically mix them, heat them, test their properties. The AI did the simulation work rapidly in the digital realm.
And did it actually find anything useful?
It found 25 new materials that hold their magnetism at high temperatures. 25 viable candidates we didn't even know existed.
That is the utopia side of the equation we were looking for.
It truly is, because if even one of those materials works out commercially, it makes EVs cheaper, more efficient, and it breaks our reliance on imported minerals. It solves a physical resource constraint that humans simply couldn't solve alone in any reasonable time frame.
So let's try to synthesize all of this for you listening. We have the University of New Hampshire finding new materials that could literally save the planet. We have Waymo expanding driverless mobility across the country. But then we have the Citron report warning that the very efficiency driving these breakthroughs might completely hollow out our economy.
It's a messy, frankly dangerous transition period. And if we look back at that Citron report one last time, there's a really provocative thought to leave you with today. The report suggests the villain in this story isn't the technology itself, it's time.
Time.
Yes, AI is improving exponentially. It gets noticeably better every single month. But our human institutions, our mortgage underwriting standards, our tax codes, our career ladders, even our copyright laws in Hollywood, they change linearly. They change very, very slowly.
We're basically building a Formula One race car engine and bolting it into a wooden horse and buggy.
Exactly. And the vibration from that engine is starting to shake the buggy apart. The core question for everyone listening to ponder is, can we upgrade the buggy, the social safety nets, the economic models fast enough to handle the speed of this engine? Or do the wheels come off first?
That really is the question of the decade. We'll have links to the Citron paper and all the other articles we discussed in the show notes. It is definitely worth a read if you want to dig deeper into the math behind the fear. That is it for this deep dive.
See you in the next one.